Oh, interesting. We got two boys from Kansai here. One is from Osaka, the other one is from Hyuga, I think. That's around Kobe. All right, some nice positional work. Up, getting carried to the edge. Oh, good pivot, good pivot. Ah, just pushed over. I imagine with the amount of reps these guys get, like they just intrinsically know their location on the rink in the process of the bout. I assume that's a skill you need to develop in the process of your training. I've noticed that they start in different positions relative to the starting marks. They are the fastest in just pure spring? What do you mean? Oh, oh. Did you see him? He ate like a beefy palm right in the middle there. Let's watch that again. Let's watch that again. Bop! Right in the middle of the face. Holy shit. Good man to just stand up and walk that off. Imagine the impact of that. Hey there, Kankuro. I don't have any thoughts on Henka. Is Henka a prominent sumo wrestler? I don't know the meta whatsoever. I am a simple man. I see big dudes wrestle. I become happy. You've missed me mauled live in 4K over some silly goober explaining how big muscles are bad. I guess you'll be able to watch the VOD for that. Old days they used to have poles instead of hanging corners. They would full body weight smash into the oak. Ooh, nice. So at the start of the sumo match, they tackle each other. Henka is when one guy steps aside and lets the other guy face plant. Oh, that's very cool. Ah, Ido Henka. Okay. I mean, that's technique there. That's technique on show. This one chunky boy over there. Conqueror, do you watch a lot of sumo? You seem to be in the know of the lingo. The overlay setup? What do you mean? Oh, good. A lot of movement. Ooh, big guy actually lost his position. Good. Remind me of the guy you learned most of your sword fighting skill from, fat guy. There was a lot of muscle under there. He was shockingly light on his feet. Yeah. When it zooms out, they have four color corners. Ah, I see. But Conqueror, I don't have an overlay. I disagree with that number, Conqueror. 18% body fat is a very specific look. Oh, yeah. This is a fully 3D background. This is not a flat overlay. I'm not sure how much I can show without breaking it. Just a second. So, there's a city behind me. And, like, there's a whole building and rooftop over there. And, like, I have my little shrine over here. No, I'd say most of the chunkier boy. Like, if you have an overhanging gut, usually that's, you're, like, in the high 30% body fat percentage there. The fat deposits are a very reliable correlate of how much body fat you're storing. Also, is this brown fat or white fat? That would mostly be white fat. Brown fat is stored around the organs mostly, and that's an adaptation to cold. Regalitude. The bones are probably also very big because they're tall boys. Strength training in earlier ages and what they do is effectively strength training. Does contribute to higher bone density, provided you have adequate nutrition. Yeah, 25% is pretty low. I'd say Takonoyama was walking around at about 25%. Oh, very good push out. The squats in those, just yeah. What do you mean the squats are yikes? There are ways to replace your white fat with brown fat. Yes, it's mostly through cold water submersion. It should be on babies as brown fat. Yes, that is accurate. The way you force your body to produce brown fat is extreme cold exposure. Well, therapeutically extreme cold exposure. You just wouldn't want to be the guy sat behind one of them, not a pleasant view. I assume that the fundoshi is tightened to a sufficient extent where none of the crack is showing. Although interestingly enough, like they barely have an ass. Have you noticed that? Like they have zero cake. You'd think they would have more developed posterior chains. Well, you can have like Japanese genetics exactly. For some reason, just people in Asia just don't have cake. They don't distribute muscle to that area very well, which is peculiar. That's why hakamas sometimes look ridiculous on Westerners, myself included. As a big fan of barbell squats, I have pristine cake, very very developed. Corner poles would crack from that and have to be replaced. I can see that happening with just the forces exuded there. Shout out to your Brazilians, yeah. See, Brazilian ass, I think, is predominantly formed with like fat deposits. I know that bubble butt operations are just redistributions of your own fat. Extremely dangerous, extremely stupid. I maintain that the best cake is made with weighted hip thrusts. What the fuck? So that's an ad for ew, a VTuber. I know Regal Dude. Disgusting. VTubers in my America. This is this is an ad for Oshinoko. Yeah, just do squats based trash gamer. So not just squats after a certain point. Anime girls everywhere in Japan. Yes, but VTubers aren't. Interestingly, yeah, VTubers are still pretty niche for Japan. Less so recently. But squats stop working your glutes after a certain point. You recall hearing that the Hollow Girls are basically everywhere these days. Yeah, that is true. Hololive has been very prominent in marketing and in licensing agreements. Although, to be fair, I think so. Anime has been such a staple, such an ever-present staple of Japanese marketing that I think the normies still don't quite grasp the difference between VTubers and anime girls. No, that wasn't a gambling anime. Oshinoko, I think it's about idols. I haven't watched it yet. It's on my watch list. I guess that they're not doing much, but still. The gambling anime, there was a gambling anime recently, Kakegurui. Reasonably okay. I watched, I think, like a season and some change. I need to get back to it. 25 years, 110 kilos at 100, oh no, at 180 it's reasonable. See, I see him being like 30% body fat, maybe 25. Like, he's not ridiculously fat. You like the girl with the eye patch in it? He does not wear proper hair. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be. He doesn't have the Chumage. It's probably due to the fact that he's not high status enough. Low ranking, yes. Like he hasn't earned the Chumage yet. Well, let's see if he's gonna make some progress towards that. Insane girls are great. Kankuro, like you and I both know that statement holds up only for so long. Oh, unfortunate. Did he slip in while they were exchanging slaps? Chanko Nabo all day, every day. Yeah, you know what? I see that being sustainable. I've been binging Kimagure cooking like for a good week now. I don't know, for some reason, just the extreme cooking gore of Japanese sushi prep is just scratches an itch in me. Oh, this one, the one on the right has a very impressive name, like single kanji, Amane. He's just the sky. Oh yeah, he fucking... Nope. No. Oh, interesting. He's about to get lifted. Damn. This dude just lifted the sky. The only healthy metal that is soft to chew. Ah, I see. Little guy, yeah, yeah, he's sunk in. Let's watch that again, actually. I like that. Gets in. Up. Passes guard. Gets a good grip on the fundoshi. Oh, you see, he worked his posture very well. Like he walked into the big guy's stance. Having no weight class is fairly wild. It makes for good viewing. He didn't so much break his stance. He lifted him out and pushed him out. See what he's doing? So let me close that up for you just a second. So this is where the primary movement is occurring. So this is his primary mover here. This is how he's effectively setting up direction. He sunk in his grip into the fundoshi. He established his stance in between the stance of the bigger guy, which is how you would move a heavier person. And he has leverage that he's applying onto his hip. That's essentially like the same way you would do an uchimata. Oh, the step is a bit big. There you go. He hops off his leg and he's hopping like in the only open direction, which is towards the outside of the ring. There you go. He steps into the triangle again in order to push him into the same direction because he's going to try to hop off his leg in order to not allow him to do a full hip toss. And he's out. Very cool. Very good. That is technically how you position for a throw. As far as I understand, the big guy lost his fight for grip. The little guy just got better positioning, like underneath his arm, so he could sink into the fundoshi. And yeah, then he just started gradually rolling, just barreling him over his hip. God, I miss grappling so much. I need manhandling grown men in my life. I just want to ragdoll a motherfucker. Okay, we got some substantial boys there. I grappled until very recently. I had to move countries for a job, and I unfortunately lost contact with my dojo where I used to do jujitsu. And I used to wrestle with like substantially heavier guys most of the time as well, which produced an interesting effect when I would get paired up with guys who are significantly lighter than me. After having established good technique with like big boys, you pick someone up who's someone who you're a good 10 kilos or 20 kilos heavier, and damn, you just you just ragdoll them on the tatami. It's not even funny. The last throw I managed to integrate into my game was Sumi Otoshi. Very fun when you can sink it in. Although to make things easier for myself, I usually preface it with a 1-2 to the face to rattle them a little bit, make them a little bit more pliable to throwing. Yeah, yeah, Japan is heavy on an Institute of Honor, and I think that's a good thing. That's a very positive institute to have. It creates investment in societal stakes, which means that your society, your social contract is supported on more things than just immediate payoff, and ultimately contributes to a healthier society long term. We in the West would very much benefit from generational honor and the concept of saving face. I think the guy who was carried out first. Let's roll back to that one. Yeah, he stepped first. Uh, let's slow it down. Just a second. Let me slow it down for you. Where's the play speed? It's gone a little far. You know what? I prefer it a little far. Let Japan stay Japan. Oh shit! I sped it up instead. My bad. Uh, there you go. That's what we want. Let's kill the sound because it's going to be very cursed to listen to. There they shackle up to the edge. There we go. And see, he steps out of bounds first. Kids made a little thing to carry their bags behind them on wheels, and they were expelled for not doing. Wait, what? You're gonna have to link me to a news article covering that because I don't think that's a thing. There's currently a very big push to actually lighten school regulations, both in terms of uniforms and bag regulations, so I don't think that's a thing. Also has really nothing to do with honor, if we're talking about school bags. Humans do not do moderation well. They inevitably overdo everything, leading to collapse of their societies and their reformation to something new. Learns the lesson of their past society's failure, but inevitably repeats the cycle. You know what? I wouldn't say that that's a universal maxim. I'd say that, especially modern society, since information travels faster and our feedback mechanisms have gotten better than they historically were, I'd say modern society has gotten a lot better in course correcting. And I'm not gonna quote specific examples today just to not cause another fire. Modern society is very, very young. These patterns play out over centuries, not thousands of, if not thousands of years. Hmm. Did we have a continual civilization that has lasted in excess of 1,000 of years at this point? I don't think we've had one. Usually decay or a few that have lasted 1,000 up to modernity as a continual society. Listen, if if the man voiced Lolly ever makes a video about me, I will officially have made it. Linked it. Okay. Oh, fuck. Why? Why, Code? Of all fucking people, you had to fucking link me fucking Shogo.
Why can't I escape you?
Oh, I am recording that goddamn takedown video. No, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. I'm watching it. Copy link. Rome was about, well, see, Rome hasn't survived up to today. You're making satire of Shogo?
Seriously have a problem. So there were some elementary school kids who invented a product for carrying Japanese school bags called randoseru. Because the kids are forced to carry heavy textbooks, this invention helped many
That's
and became
okay.
popular. You probably think that the kids who invented this did a great job, but let's take a look at some of the adults' opinions in Japan. They are all talking about the that's not the way it's supposed to be kind
But those are Twitter comments. Nobody
of
fucking
idea.
cares.
In Japan, there is a very strict hierarchical society, and it is
Okay.
very embarrassing when you can't work as much as your juniors because they're forced to respect you. Japan is the world's oldest country, and there are
And
so many adults who don't want to change the conventional way they grew up in. But this is exactly the reason why Japan has so many social problems. What we need in Japan now is innovation, and we adults must be supportive.
no.
あと
No,
大
that's all
分
right,
県
man.
中津出身
No.
二所ノ関部屋
Let me drive this in a more elegant way. I hate the word innovation so overused. It has no real meaning anymore. Yeah, it was the buzzword of a for a very long while. Innovation in and of itself is not bad. But when you're trying to fix what's not broken, that's where you run into issues. I maintain that, yet, Japan is world's oldest country, when San Marino in Italy has something to say about that. Yeah, first of all, Japan is just a blue zone. Does it have a lot of old people? Yes. It has to do more with the fact that your life expectancy is tremendously higher because of a higher quality of life. Are some people stuck in their olden ways? Yes. There's also a lot of relatively young people. There are people in their 40s and 30s currently running businesses in Japan. The business landscape is actually very young, especially in the startup space. There's no crisis of old geezers holding young people back. Yes, Digby is accurate. Even work culture has changed over Corona. Remote work was was an impossibility to even ponder in Japan, and they shifted to remote work almost instantaneously over the course of the pandemic. And now they're course correcting back, but they can't put that genie back in the bottle entirely because they've also created a freelancer class that is very much used to being like an outsourced remote worker. As the older generation dies out, the younger generation will move up and institute changes that they desire, which they actually are. Again, there is no institution of like geriatric people in Japan holding back the younglings. That's not a thing. Japan has a very specific cutoff date for when you exit the workforce. You can argue that these people still influence stuff through their voting behaviors, and that's a complaint that I've heard from some Japanese leftists that they just keep voting in the same old hoagies. But also, those people were fucking commies, and they don't really know shit about fuck. People are trying to reinvent the wheel. Irk the hell out of you, yeah. You see it in game design all the time, but also you see game design is fine. Like inventing new, as long as you're actually doing new things. Conqueror, don't get me started. Do not press the button. Yeah. Listen, I understand that pure anarcho-capitalism is just as stupid as communism. Like I understand shades of gray. Like I still pay my taxes, although I try to keep them low. But that's besides the point. Both are nice dreams, though. Yes. See, I vibe with compassionate communists who have arrived to this thinking process through just being bad at math, but still being compassionate and wanting better standards of living for their fellow man, as opposed to evil cunts like Marx.